Welcome to Manufacturing Talk Radio.
Hi all, Lou Weiss again. You've heard me say that a bunch of times today. We're in Detroit, Michigan. We're at the Motion Power Technology Expo, formerly the Gear Manufacturing Expo, and it's managed and run by AGMA, the American Gear Manufacturing Association. And I'm privileged to have the CEO of AGMA sitting here with me, Mike I'm screwing it up.
Cinquemani, you did really well. It's okay.
I just sorry about that. So I'm going to call you Michael.
That's perfect.
Okay, great.
That works.
Michael is also the owner of Master Power Transmission Company, and you're located where, Mike?
We're located in Greenville, South Carolina,
right,
and also in Columbus, Indiana. The majority of our manufacturing is in Columbus, Indiana, and our headquarters and some other functions are in Greenville.
So where do you live?
I live in Greenville.
Okay, we're right along the shoreline.
Yeah.
Michael, tell us a little bit about, we're going to get to AGMA, but let's talk about your manufacturing company first.
Okay.
So that's the Master Power Transmission Company.
Right. So Master Power Transmission is a manufacturer of industrial gearboxes. We make enclosed gearboxes. We design and manufacture enclosed gearboxes. Pretty much they're standard gearboxes, and they're used with electric motors in industrial applications, primarily in conveyors, in all kinds of industries. You'd find them in everything from food to wastewater, as I like to say, and everything in between. We make inline helical, as I mentioned. We make also worm gearboxes and worm helical combination gearboxes, and a few other things.
So you're a mid-sized company.
We are.
Would put you at about
80-something, 81, 82 people.
80-something at least yesterday.
Right, as far as I know.
Yeah. You didn't get any phone calls today.
That's right. That's right.
So we've gone through a lot of things in manufacturing over the last 3 years. Some good, mostly bad, but we're coming back from death's door. So that being said, have you had issues with employees, skills, skill gap, logistics, supply chain? I could go on and on. So why don't you give us some insight on that?
Yeah, well, we had this thing happen in 2020,
right,
and it was pretty difficult time period to get through. And I would say that yes, the answer to every question you said is yes. For us, we're limited in our supply chain to primarily North America. U.S. and Mexico, I would say, is almost all of our supply chain. And we haven't really had issues, I would say, associated with the supply chain having transportation issues or being slow. We've had more issues with individual companies within our supply chain not having enough people to meet demand as we pulled out of COVID, or going out of business as a result of COVID, or and so on, or changing their business models because they're having to do something differently after this economic downturn that we went through. So we definitely had a lot of that, and just like everybody else, we've had it. It's been a struggle. There's not enough people in the workforce for what we need to do. We've got a pretty good workforce. We've got a pretty loyal workforce, but it has been, when you need to find somebody new, it's been a struggle finding the right person.
Absolutely, especially now with all of the new technologies within the last 5 or 10 years, 3D printing, AI, ASI, which is new, which most people don't know what that is. I'll tell you. Artificial super intelligence.
Oh.
Google it, folks. It's bigger, better, and scarier than AI.
Wow.
So when you were going through all these issues, you said you didn't have much of a problem in terms of transportation of goods and services. And meanwhile, there were not enough truck drivers.
Yeah.
Did you experience any of that?
Well, we have we've got a pretty robust logistics operation, and so suppliers, and as a result of that, we really didn't have a lot of trouble. I mean, we would have little what I call brush fires, but
Yeah.
nothing of great significance to our business.
That's good, because mostly the people I talked to
Yeah.
were hanging from the rafters.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, excuse me, has to do with the length of the supply chain.
That's true.
And our supply chain is a lot shorter, and that helps you when you have transportation issues.
You mentioned before about problems with employees and skill gaps and so on, and you had mentioned about office automation and factory automation. Have you implemented that into your operation?
We have been obviously, like everybody, we've been working very hard on factory automation.
Right.
It's an absolute necessity today to be successful, I think. But I think the unique flavor that we're adding to it is we're working on a lot of office automation. So we're working on jobs. When you think about the skills gap, our business is pretty complex. And as a result of it being complex, when you hire somebody new, there's a pretty steep learning curve to get through to that complexity. Well, we've got these excellent systems, and these systems have got a lot of data in them. If you make sure the data is right, we've got really, really good data. And we've been using AI, and programming to take that. The example that I often give is like of a purchasing role. You have a purchasing role in the organization. Well, there's so much of that, it's routine, and we can manage the data, automate an awful lot of it, and then present it to the desktop of, say, the new employee to where they're dealing with exceptions rather than tasks. And their time, their brain power can be dedicated to making things better and addressing the problems rather than having to spend all day long just processing information.
Are you ISO registered?
We are. We're ISO 9000.
Okay. And we are as well since 1994.
Yeah.
And it's called, I heard somebody mention it a little earlier today, and it's such a great expression, process management.
Yeah.
It says it all there.
Yeah.
Process management. And when we started with ISO in 94, my employees at that time were giving me a hard time about why do we have to do it? It's extra work, it's extra this, and so on. And nowadays, they know that we couldn't function if we didn't have ISO.
Yeah, absolutely. And with, I think when you say process management, the interesting part for us is how this information management really dovetails into the manufacturing process. It's all the same thing. Right. There is this huge process, and material flow or material planning or supervision, shop floor management, as I like to call it, the choreography of parts going through the shop and coming to assembly.
I like that.
That's a very difficult process to manage. And the more you can take that process and make it be repeatable, and therefore also automate it, the more you're putting your employees in a position to be successful.
More successful, more productive, more profitable.
Right. Higher quality. Everything.
Happier customers.
And happier customers. And
right.
That's really what it's all about.
I get that. And I hear that all the time from people who are AS 9100 or, ISO 9000 and AS 9100, the aircraft people, which we have that also. Do you do aerospace work?
We do not do aerospace work. We're strictly commercial.
There's probably a benefit to that.
Yeah,
somewhere along the line.
Well, a business our size, we're interested in niches, and that's just not one of the niches that we've chosen to tackle. We've got several really nice niches that we're in, and there's so much opportunity there that we kind of stay in those lanes.
That sounds good to me. So I'm gonna switch topics here on Michael here. I think I mentioned it at the beginning of the show that he is also the chairman of American Gear Manufacturing Association. So let's talk about that, Michael.
Okay. Well, first of all, let me say thank you for being here and doing this. This is really cool to be doing podcasts in the middle of the MPT show floor is super cool. And
Thank you.
AGMA is a really, is an old organization, right? We've been around a long time, and we know, we've been associated with and have developed and pioneered the standards for gear manufacturing and still continue to lead that on a global basis today.
Right.
But what's also happening is you see all these changes. You mentioned a few of them before. You've got what we call emerging technologies. You've got electric vehicles and the impact that electric vehicles are going to have on the gearing market, the machine tool vendors, everybody, 3D printing, artificial intelligence and IIoT,
Right.
and so forth. I mean, you've got all these emerging technologies, and one of the ways that we're changing is we're putting a lot of effort into understanding those technologies for the membership, breaking them down in simple ways, and helping our group to be prepared for the future. And it's really evolved in a very, very nice way. Electric vehicle technology, I was on that. I chaired that committee for a number of years, and we went from here's this thing, it's coming, and we don't know what it is yet, but okay, here's how many gears there are in an electric vehicle versus a gasoline vehicle, to here's a white paper that describes the situation. Here's the market research that you need to understand as a gear manufacturer.
Yep.
And now tomorrow we're having an EV town hall where we've got experts coming in to talk about how do we apply the standards that exist and turn EV gear manufacturing into more of a standardized activity because it's so emergent.
I understand there's going to be 480 participants, attendees.
Yeah.
So are you speaking at that?
I am. I have a role tomorrow to speak at that, and very excited about it. I'm really, really excited about it because it's such a nice evolution of what is 3 or 4 years of work and a lot of hard work by Mary Ellen Duran. So
Yeah, we had Mary Ellen on a little while ago. Great lady.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
lady.
And when you look, so talking about AGMA, if I could just say a few more things.
Sure.
You look at this show and how it has evolved from what it was. You mentioned Gear Expo.
Yeah.
From the days of Gear Expo, not only do we have a podcast studio, not only do we have all the things that we've traditionally had, the manufacturers, the technical know-how of the suppliers. We've got experts over to the left doing talks. We've got curated tours going on. We've got the fall technical meeting going on at the same time.
Right.
I mean, this is an amazing assemblage of gear geeks, from all over the world, and it's really, really exciting to be a part of.
A full-blown educational gathering and networking.
Absolutely, and that's what this association is all about. And I had the opportunity to have dinner with the editors, the contributing writers to gear technology and power transmission engineering last night. And you look around that room, and you think, my goodness, how much incredible knowledge there is around this room focused on gear manufacturing, and how much brain power. Just an absolutely amazing thing, and what a great industry to be in.
And that's true. And there are actually many great segments of manufacturing that we're in. We did a show a couple of weeks ago, just to change the subject for a moment. We had a spokesperson from Hollywood talking about what's going on in Hollywood and what's going on in the writers and the actors. And somebody said, well, why are you doing that show about Hollywood? They manufacture movies and TV shows. Yeah. And, boing, it was like an eye-opener.
Yeah, and AI is affecting them as well, right?
Oh, you bet. To a lesser degree now. They made a deal.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's everything that you look at is manufactured.
Absolutely.
Absolutely everything. So
and gears are really an unusually beautiful form of manufacturing, but you're right about that.
Michael, Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lou. It was
It's
my
been a
pleasure. And thank you for being here.
I appreciate it as well. And I think perhaps when we all get back to our home bases, I'd like to talk to you a little bit more about what we might be able to do more for AGMA and vice versa.
I would love to do that.
Okay, great.
Thanks so much,
All
Lou.
right. Thank you all. See you at the next interview.
That's our show for today. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to support the show, please like and subscribe, share on social media, or leave a review. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Rumble, or your favorite podcast app. Visit us online at mfgtalkradio.com for our other episodes. We have also included links to our advertisers below. Thanks again, and we'll see you next week.